So, a model with 100 times fewer parameters beat one of the most powerful AI models. And it was not because it was smarter, and it was not because it had more data, it was just trained differently. So today we are looking at InstructGPT, and I think it is the most important papers in modern AI because the paper made AI listen to people. So let's get into it. Before InstructGPT, there was GPT-3, 175 billion parameters, trained on 570 gigabytes of text. It was kind of insane, but here's the thing. The way GPT-3 was trained, it was basically just predict the next word on the internet, that's it. The goal was never help the user, the goal was sound like the web, and that distinction matters a lot. So what actually happened? Three things mainly. First, it hallucinated, like it would just make stuff up and say it with full confidence. Second, it sometimes generated toxic content. And third, this one's kind of funny, it just ignored the instructions. You'd ask it to summarize something and it just kept writing. It could do a lot, but it wasn't actually useful. And the reason is actually pretty simple when you think about it. GPT-3's training goal was predict the next word on the internet, but what users actually need is follow the instructions helpfully and safely. Those are completely different things. This gap has a name, it's called misalignment. The model is optimizing for the wrong thing. So OpenAI asked, okay, what would a well-aligned AI actually look like? And they came up with three things. Helpful, so it actually solves your problem. Honest, so it doesn't make stuff up. And harmless, so it doesn't generate toxic or dangerous content. Simple idea. Turns out it's really hard to actually build. Their solution was RLHF, reinforcement learning from human feedback. It's a three-step process. Supervise the fine-tuning first, then building a reward model, then reinforcement learning. Let me walk through each one. Step 1 is supervise the fine-tuning. The idea is pretty straightforward. They took real prompts from users and had humans write out what a good response would look like. Like someone asked, explain quantum computing simply, a human writes a clear, actually helpful answer. Then GPT-3 learns from those examples. They did this about 13,000 times. So the model starts learning what good kind of looks like. And here's something I found genuinely interesting. OpenAI had a team of human labelers write those 13,000 pairs and rank 33,000 comparisons. But even among these trained experts, they only agreed with each other 72.6% of the time, which kind of tells you there's no single right answer even for humans. Okay, step 2. Now they need to teach a machine what good actually means. They give the model a prompt, get multiple outputs, and have humans rank them. This one's better, this one's worse. Using those rankings, they train a separate AI called a reward model, basically a scorer that can judge any output. 3. Now they use the reward model like a judge. The main model generates a response, the reward model scores it, and the model updates itself to do better next time. This repeats thousands of times. It's kind of like training a dog. Reward the good behavior and it learns. The full pipeline SFT first. Humans show the model what good looks like. Then the reward model, humans rank outputs to build a scorer. Then PPO, the model optimizes itself using the scorer. 3 steps, and the result they called InstructGPT. And the results were kind of shocking. A 1.3 billion parameter InstructGPT outperformed 175 billion parameter GPT-3. That's 100 times fewer parameters and one. In human evaluations, the 175 billion InstructGPT was preferred 85% of the time. Like the training method mattered way
more than the size. Also got way more honest. On closed domain tasks, GPT-3 hallucinated 41% of the time. InstructGPT won 21%, nearly cut it half. And on the truthful QA benchmark, InstructGPT gave truthful answers twice as often. Not perfect, but that's a massive improvement. Toxic output dropped by 25% when the model was asked to be respectful, real progress. But, and this is important, bias didn't improve much. That's still an open problem today. Reducing harm and eliminating bias are two different things. But there was a cost. After RLHF, InstructGPT actually got worse on some standard NLP benchmarks. Reading comprehension translation. OpenAI called this the alignment tax, making it more obedient meant it kind of forgot some things it used to know. The fix was actually pretty elegant. They just mixed some of the original pre-training data back into the RLHF process. They called it PPOPTX, and it worked. Alignment stayed, performance mostly recovered. Sometimes the simple solution is the right one. That said, InstructGPT wasn't perfect. It is still hallucinated sometimes, and it sometimes gave really long, cautious, non-answers to simple questions. It struggled when questions had a false premise and bias remained. The researchers were honest about all of this. Progress doesn't mean solved. So why does this matter? March 2022, this paper comes out. 8 months later, November 2022, ChatGPT launches. OpenAI officially said ChatGPT is a sibling model to InstructGPT. Same approach, same idea. InstructGPT was the blueprint. And it wasn't just ChatGPT. RLHF became the standard. Claude, Gemini, all of them use RLHF or some version of it. Before InstructGPT, the question was how do they make it bigger? After InstructGPT, the question became how do we train it? That shift is kind of everything.
I think what makes this paper special is how simple the core idea is. You don't need a bigger model, you just need to train it to actually listen. And size is not everything, how you train matters more. So if you want to check out the paper, then the link is in the description. And see you in the next one.